Hello everyone, and welcome back to my newcomer's guide to Dark Souls Remastered. I'm educator. So in the last episode, we ended up finishing up the Moonlight Butterfly, and we're about to head into the lower Undead Burg area in order to face off against the Capra demon. Probably one of the most hated enemies slash bosses of this game. For now though, we're going to go ahead and head back the way we came. And we're actually going to head back down to the Darkroot Basin because we now have the key required to open a shortcut to fight Havel. And that's the fastest way, as well as the safest way, in my opinion, to get back to the area that we need to go to in order to access the lower Undead Burg. Oh, this guy's gonna probably chase us. Oh, I did not time that. Okay. So Havel is a big chunky boy. He has some of the heaviest gear in the game. He also has Havel's ring, which makes him substantially lighter, or at least substantially able to carry more equipped gear, which we want that so that we can start equipping heavier gear from here on, while still retaining our medium rolls if we can. And we're also heading here because this is the most direct route and the easiest, the safest route back to the entrance to the Undead Burg. Because otherwise we can get toasted by the dragon, and for whatever reason, getting toasted by the dragon, if you're coming back through the Sunlight Altar area, it always does far more damage than the last time. From the Hellkite Drake. Anyway, we're going to go and open this path, and in here we have Havel. So, Havel has some pretty heavy attacks. He two-hands his weapon oftentimes. Yes, you can parry him, however he does so much damage that I don't generally recommend trying to parry him. Backstabs work really well against him though. So I'm going to basically do that, rinse, repeat. Ooh. I was thinking I would be able to kill him with that last attack. But alas, I did not. Alright, so we got Havel's ring. We're going to go ahead and use that to equip the elite gear from this point. Which I think this outfit looks absolutely dashing. So, we're going to go ahead and head up. Oh, let me tell you what that ring does, by the way. So right now we are at an equipment load of 72. If we equip that ring, it will get us up to 108 for our max equipment load. So it's a huge boost to being able to carry some heavy gear a lot earlier than we otherwise would. Otherwise, though, we're going to go ahead and head all the way up. And here is where we need the Watchtower Basement key. So you might recognize this area. This is actually the area that we came to from the Undead Burg whenever we were heading towards the Taurus Demon. So we're going to go ahead and head all the way up. Not going to bother with the crossbowman this time around. Okay, so this is the bridge where we got toasted earlier, that got toasted earlier by the dragon, Hellkite Drake. If you come back through here from the opposite end, for whatever reason, the Hellkite Drake is, in my opinion, harder to avoid, and she does a hell of a lot more damage, oftentimes enough to one-shot you. So I recommend coming back around this direction instead, and then we're going to go ahead and head down here using the basement key. So this is the key, by the way, that we got. If you're watching this episode and you did not watch the earlier episodes, you have to go down that path, open up the gate there, and then there's another gate that's beyond that you have to get to in front of the cathedral. And that's where you'll find the key. For now, though, we're going to go ahead and head down here. And we're going to head upstairs. And here's a shortcut back to an earlier area. You probably recognize this area. Alrighty. So, we got a bonfire to sit at, and that will refresh the enemies. So, before we move on into the rest of the lower Undead Burg, we're actually going to end up needing to go buy some stuff from the merchant. So, if you've not bought the residence key, we're going to do that. We're also going to go ahead and buy some of the multiplayer stuff. Because we're getting closer to when I would say, if you're been struggling and you want to play with, or haven't been struggling, I should say, and you want to play the multiplayer, I would probably start planning to do that pretty soon. And we want to buy some multiplayer items to facilitate that. Ah, I love this weapon. Claymore is probably my favorite weapon in this game. Alright, so we're coming down to here. We're going to go ahead and talk to our buddy. And we're going to go ahead and buy the Dried Finger. Again, the Dried Finger will reset the invasion timer. It normally sets to 10 minutes after you're invaded once. So if you want to unlock the ability to be invaded more times, you can basically use that. We also have the Orange Guidance Soapstone we'll go ahead and buy too. We're going to buy the Residence Key while we're here. And then I usually like to stock up on arrows, so I'm going to go ahead and buy, I don't know, maybe 100. And we should be good with that. Again, he's got other better arrows, like the large arrows. However, they are kind of expensive, so I don't recommend buying them yet until we have more souls, but definitely we'll be transitioning from standard arrows eventually, because they do more damage. But other than that, that's pretty much all we need at this phase. So we're going to go ahead and head back. Now, the reason why we want the residence key now is that there's a door that the master key will not open. And the residence key, as you might remember, opened up a door further up, but it actually does not open up the door that we're about to go to. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead and head back down. And don't worry too much if you don't have that many Estus flasks. We're not going to be fighting the boss until we... you dumb dog. We're not going to be fighting the boss until we get back to Firelink Shrine. Usually, by the way, one of these dogs ends up landing in the fire whenever they're trying to fight you, and that's kind of meant to be your hint that dogs are susceptible to fire. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and head down here. This door right here is where we're going to use that key. And this has Griggs in it. Griggs is a sorcerer. He's also a friend to another sorcerer named Logan. They will train you in sorcery if you have high enough intelligence. So talk to him a few times, and then we're going to go ahead and roll into this. This will actually allow us to get his gear. Then we're going to go down here. We got a bunch of these enemies that hit you with fire. I recommend only getting a couple of them to deal with that at a time. And we got twin humanities, which is basically just two humanities in one. Do not know why I jumped. Anyway, there might be another dog up here. Yep, there is. And behind these doors, there are enemies. You want to stab or jump attack in order to get your sword to get through the wall. And then once you go down here, this third door will open up, and you've got these guys. So let's talk about these guys. That stance they have right now, by the way, they will use as a way to counter. So don't attack them while they have that, unless you're going to jump attack. So they have normal attacks like that, but once they do that that stance, I usually like to do a jump attack against them. If you're able to actually get him. That was a bad idea. Anyway. With that done, if you open or go into one of these doors, you will find a mail breaker. And a mail breaker is a weapon that's really good at damaging gear. So around here we've got one of these dogs. You can either try shooting him to get him to come to you, but I don't recommend going forward yet. Oh, he's on his way. Okay, as you step forward, you're going to have to deal with 3 of these enemies. And they all throw darts at you now. But they go down easy enough. We have another dog to deal with. And then in one of these, there it is the thief gear. In addition, inside here, we have a soul item. So this leads to the Capra demon. However, we're going to go ahead and make a right. There's an enemy around the corner waiting for you on the left here. Alright. That door, by the way, goes to the depths, which is the next area that we're going to be going to. We do not yet have the key, though. We'll have to kill the Capra demon to go down there. Now, though, we're going to go ahead and head in here and upstairs. Got a guy shooting arrows at us. And here we have the female undead merchant. So, a few things that she has. She's got blooming purple moss clumps. Again, I would say if you don't have 3 of these, go ahead and buy a couple. She also says poison knives. If you're playing a thief, that can be not so bad. Dung pie will allow you to turn other enemies toxic, which is a much more damaging version of poison. However, it also affects the player. One thing that's interesting about it, though, that you can actually use for your benefit, though, is whenever we go to Blighttown has a bunch of enemies that will inflict toxin. And the version of toxin that this affects you with, because it affects the enemy as well as you, is a lot less devastating than the toxin that they affect you with. So you might consider giving yourself toxin using dung pie in order to make the run easier. We're going to be getting a shield, though, that we're going to use that does a pretty good job against toxin, though, so I'm going to recommend that shield, but still have a few of the blooming purple moss clumps just in case. Beyond that, though, she sells alluring skulls. She also sells charcoal pine resin, and in fact, I'm going to recommend that you buy a few of those for the Gaping Dragon boss, which is the boss we're going to fight after the Capra Demon. She also sells some transient curses. Again, we'll be coming back through here later whenever we need to go down into the New Londo ruins. She also sells rotten pine resin. Never found a real good use for this, but there are some enemies in the game that can be poisoned, some bosses that can be poisoned. We got Homeward Bone, Prism Stone. Later we'll be traversing areas that are hard to see in, and those can be useful for us, but it's going to be a long time before we do that. So we'll talk about that when we get closer to that point. And then she also sells a humanity item, which we will eventually come back to buy. And then she also sells purging stones, but notice how she sells them for double what Oswaldo Karim sold them for. She also sells fire arrows, which we're actually going to want some fire arrows for a place called the Painted World of Ariamis. That won't be until after we deal with Anor Londo, though. And then before we go to Sen's Fortress, we're going to want to buy some poison arrows. So that's going to be a little while, again, as well. We're actually going to go all the way through Blighttown, deal with the Gaping Dragon first, and in Blighttown we'll deal with Quelaag, and then we'll probably circle back around to deal with Sen's Fortress. So it's going to be a little while before we need either of these things, but those are going to be some beneficial things a little later. So, anyway, for now, though, we're going to go ahead and head back to Firelink Shrine, because you might recognize this hallway. We're finally opening up this gate, which basically takes us directly back to Firelink Shrine. It's one of the aspects of this game I love so much, because the whole world kind of folds back in on itself. Still no humanity. Anyway, we're going to come back around here again. This, of course, was the path that we got to take to Undead Burg earlier. Oh, love that. There's Griggs, by the way. And let's see, do I have any soul items or enough soul items to level up? Maybe. Nope. Okay, so just at the bonfire, spend any souls you can, and then we're going to go ahead and head back now that we've got our 10 Estus flasks, and we're going to fight the Capra Demon. Now, the Capra Demon is, I would say, one of the most hated bosses for most new players. However, it's not quite as hard as people make it out to be. But there are a few cheese methods that you can do with it, but we're going to fight it kind of the old-fashioned way, because I don't think it's hard enough to justify the cheese. But we do have a few items now that are going to make this fight a little easier. But we'll talk about that whenever we get closer to the actual boss. Up here we got some doggos to deal with. Okay, so this is the Capra Demon. So, first things first, the Capra Demon is extremely weak to gold pine resin. In fact, if you do a plunging attack off of the ledge that we're going to be able to get to, you can do like 350 damage in a single hit doing a drop attack. Otherwise, it's still the best option. If you, however, do not have any gold pine resin left, the charcoal pine resin works plenty well as well, just not as good as the gold pine resin. So I'm going to recommend equipping that. In addition, I'm going to switch my gear up a little bit because I want to trade the Havel's ring for the wolf ring. Now, the reason I'm going to use the wolf ring is that it increases your poise, and one of the biggest problems about this boss is if you get stuck against all three enemies at once, they can basically attack you in such quick succession that you'll basically be stun locked. So I tend to recommend this ring in order to deal with the possibility of being stun locked. Whenever you step in this room, though, the Capra Demon's going to be off kind of to the right, and then the dogs are going to be near a staircase that kind of goes along the left-hand side and then up. And we're actually going to want to get to that staircase, and we don't want to get caught in a corner by these enemies, because if we do, we're pretty much dead. So I'm actually going to go forward, go and circle the enemy, the boss, the Capra Demon, from the right-hand side, and then I'm going to try to make my way up to the ladder. I'm sorry, not the ladder, the staircase. And from there, I'm going to try to kill the dogs as they come up the ladder. At that point, usually the Capra Demon is on his way, and sometimes I'll get in a few shots there. Otherwise, I might have the opportunity to do a jump attack, a plunging attack on him, which will do a whole mess of damage. The Capra Demon, by the way, has two large weapons in their hand. He'll basically swing at you with both of those. He'll sometimes do kind of a baseball swing where he'll put both of them together and hit you with it. That does a lot of damage. And then he'll also do a lunging attack where he kind of jumps forward with his weapon. And that'll do a lot of damage too, but it's really easy just to roll directly into it. So those are pretty much all of his major attacks. In this case, though, I'm going to go ahead and step forward. I'm going to hold out my shield, go around him, and head up here. Kind of my goal is to deal with the dogs first if I can. And they're good. So I'd like the Capra Demon to fall down, but it looks like he's not going to fall down. So now that he's deprived of his dogs, he's actually not really that bad to deal with. And he's pretty easy to stun lock too. And now we got the key to the depths. We also got humanity and a homeward bone. And with that, we are done with the Capra Demon. We're going to go ahead and head back to Firelink Shrine, and that is actually going to wrap it out for this episode. So in the next episode, we're going to end up traveling to the depths, which will take us to another boss fight. So we'll talk more about what we're going to need down there whenever we head back there in the next episode, but we are going to want to have some things, some items in preparation. Humanity? No humanity. Urgh. Anyway. Ah, you moved out of the way. How dare you? Alrighty, so we are back. So at this phase, I'm going to go ahead and repair my gear. We're going to level up, continuing to following the track for strength and dexterity up to 20. And with that, we are at level 30, and I think that's going to go ahead and wrap it here, guys. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.